The requirement to firestop all boat holes, spaces, etc. through wood framing members in New York City is likely based on amendments to the New York City Building Code adopted in 2020. These amendments incorporate provisions from the International Fire Code, which also requires firestopping of penetrations in fire-rated assemblies. While the National Electrical Code does not specifically require firestopping of penetrations in wood framing, it does prohibit the creation of openings that could compromise the fire resistance rating of a fire-rated assembly. National Electrical Code Article 300.21 addresses this issue in the context of fire-resistive constructions. The responsibility for fire-stopping penetrations in wood framing typically falls on the person or entity that creates the opening. In the case of electrical installations, this means that electricians are responsible for fire-stopping the holes they create for running wires. Electrical inspectors in New York City have the authority to red tag a job if fire-stopping requirements are not met. This can lead to delays in project completion and potential fines. The amendments to the New York City Building Code were largely driven by lessons learned from the Grenfell Tower fire in London, where the spread of fire through penetrations contributed to the tragic loss of life. Some jurisdictions may also have specific requirements for firestopping in addition to those found in the National Electrical Code and International Fire Code. It is important to check with local authorities to determine the applicable regulations in your area. Fire-stopping materials typically used in wood framing include cork, foam, and mineral wool. The specific type of material used will depend on the size and location of the penetration. It is important to understand the implications of these new requirements and ensure compliance to avoid potential delays and fines. Electricians should familiarize themselves with the specific fire-stopping requirements in the New York City Building Code and the International Fire Code. This includes understanding what materials are approved for use in fire-stopping applications and how to properly install them. Electricians should also be aware of the inspection procedures that are used to verify compliance with the fire-stopping requirements. This may include visual inspections as well as destructive testing to verify the effectiveness of the fire-stopping materials. Failing to comply with fire-stopping requirements can have serious consequences, including the potential for fire to spread rapidly through a building. This can put lives at risk and cause significant property damage. It is therefore essential that electricians take fire-stopping seriously and ensure that they are following all applicable requirements. In addition to the fire-stopping requirements in the New York City Building Code and the International Fire Code, there may also be other fire safety requirements that apply to electrical installations. For example, the National Electrical Code requires that electrical equipment be installed in a manner that does not create a fire hazard. This includes ensuring that electrical wiring is properly supported and protected from damage, and that electrical equipment is properly grounded. Electricians should be familiar with all of the fire safety requirements that apply to their work, and they should take steps to ensure that their installations are safe and compliant. This may include attending training courses, reading technical publications, and consulting with experts. By taking these steps, electricians can help to protect people and property from the dangers of fire. Fire-stopping is an essential part of fire protection in buildings. It prevents the spread of fire and smoke through openings in walls, floors, and ceilings. Fire-stopping materials are designed to resist fire for a specified period of time, which gives people time to escape and firefighters time to control the fire. There are many different types of fire-stopping materials available, each with its own advantages and disadvantages. The type of fire-stopping material that is used will depend on the size and location of the opening, as well as the fire resistance rating of the wall, floor, or ceiling. Fire-stopping should be installed by qualified professionals who are familiar with the applicable building codes and standards. Improperly installed fire-stopping can be ineffective and may even create a fire hazard. In addition to fire-stopping, there are other fire protection measures that can be taken to protect buildings from fire. These measures include fire alarms, sprinkler systems, and fire extinguishers. Fire alarms provide early warning of a fire, which gives people time to escape. Sprinkler systems automatically suppress fires, which can prevent them from spreading. Fire extinguishers can be used to put out small fires. By taking all of these fire protection measures, building owners can help to protect their buildings from fire and ensure the safety of their occupants. When selecting fire-stopping materials, it is important to consider the following factors. Firstly, the fire resistance rating of the assembly. This is the amount of time that the fire-stopping material is designed to resist fire. Secondly, the size and shape of the opening. The fire-stopping material must be able to completely fill the opening to prevent the spread of fire and smoke. Thirdly, the type of materials that are being penetrated. Some fire-stopping materials are not compatible with certain types of materials, such as plastic or wood. Fourthly, the environmental conditions. Some fire-stopping materials are not suitable for use in damp or humid environments. Fifthly, the cost of the fire-stopping material. Fire-stopping materials can vary in price, so it is important to choose a material that is affordable. Once you have considered these factors, you can select the fire-stopping material that is best suited for your needs. When installing fire-stopping materials, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. Improperly installed fire-stopping can be ineffective and may even create a fire hazard. Fire-stopping should be installed by qualified professionals who are familiar with the applicable building codes and standards. After fire-stopping has been installed, it is important to inspect it regularly to ensure that it is still in good condition. Fire-stopping materials can deteriorate over time, so it is important to replace them when necessary. By following these tips, you can help to ensure that your building is protected from fire. Fire-stopping is a critical component of a building's fire protection system. It is important to select and install fire-stopping materials properly to prevent the spread of fire and smoke. There are many different types of fire-stopping materials available, each with its own advantages and disadvantages. The type of fire-stopping material that is used will depend on the size and location of the opening, as well as the fire resistance rating of the wall, floor, or ceiling. It is recommended to consult with a fire protection engineer or other qualified professional to determine the best type of fire-stopping material for your needs. The International Fire Code has specific guidelines that are very relevant. For example, Section 703.21 penetrations states that penetrations shall be protected in accordance with Section 714. Section 714 then goes into detail about fire resistance requirements for penetrations. Section 714.31 through penetration states that through penetration shall comply with Section 714.3 1.1 through 714.3 1.3. These sections cover the protection of penetrations in fire resistance rated assemblies and require that the penetrations be sealed with materials that are approved for that purpose. The fire resistance rating of the fire-stopping material must be equal to or greater than the fire resistance rating of the assembly being penetrated. Section 714.4 membrane penetration states that membrane penetration shall comply with Section 714.4 1 through 714.4 3. These sections cover the protection of membrane penetrations in fire resistance rated assemblies. Membrane penetrations are penetrations that do not completely pass through the assembly, such as electrical boxes or outlets. Fire-stopping material used to protect membrane penetrations must be approved for that purpose and must be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Section 714.5 Fire-resistant joint system states that fire-resistant joint systems shall comply with Section 714.5 1 through 714.5 3. These sections cover the protection of joints in fire-resistance rated assemblies. Fire-resistant joint systems are used to seal the joints between different components of a fire-resistance rated assembly, such as walls and floors. The fire-resistant joint system must be approved for that purpose and must be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. The NEC covers fire-stopping in 300.21, which is titled Spread of Fire or Products of Combustion. Electrical installations in hollow spaces, vertical shafts, and ventilation or air handling ducts shall be made so that the possible spread of fire or products of combustion will not be substantially increased. Openings around electrical penetrations through fire-resistant rated walls, partitions, floors, or ceilings shall be fire-stopped using approved methods to maintain the fire resistance rating. This article of the NEC aligns closely with the International Fire Code requirements for maintaining the integrity of fire resistance rated assemblies. It is important to consider both the NEC and the International Fire Code, as these are important code references. Electricians need to comply to the rules of the city and state they are working in. Not complying with these fire-stopping guidelines and practices could have some serious implications that affect safety. The potential for rapid fire spread puts lives at risk by reducing the time available for evacuation and increasing the risk of injury or death. Significant property damage can occur. Fire can quickly spread through unprotected penetrations, causing extensive damage to buildings and their contents. Legal and financial repercussions, where non-compliance can lead to fines, project delays, and potential legal liabilities for contractors and building owners. Loss of business operations can occur due to the disruption and damage caused by a fire can lead to significant business losses and downtime. To ensure compliance and safety, electricians need to receive proper training on fire-stopping techniques and materials. Staying updated on the latest code requirements and industry best practices is also critical. Performing thorough inspections of electrical work to verify proper fire-stopping installation is also important. Using only approved fire-stopping materials that meet the required fire resistance ratings is also critical. Maintaining detailed records of fire-stopping installations, including materials used and installation dates, is also very important. By adhering to these guidelines and recommendations, electricians can play a crucial role in preventing the spread of fire and protecting lives and property.